I'm Colin Walsh. I'm the Organist Laureate of Lincoln Cathedral. I've been here for 31 years playing this wonderful Father Willis organ here. I accompany the services, accompany the choir, play organ recitals here, play organ recitals in other places in this country, in Europe, further afield, make CDs, do a bit of teaching, so keep myself busy really.
Have you performed with the Hallé before?
No, I haven't, so this is a very exciting project. So I'm looking forward to this very much indeed.
How regularly do you perform symphonic works with the organ, with other orchestras, for instance?
Not often, because in a cathedral they're not always easy to bring off, and of course there aren't a lot of instrumental works which use the organ, because the symphonies of Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, they are for a symphony orchestra and not with the organ.
Give us your perspective on the composition and indeed on the composer.
It's dedicated to Liszt, who was a musician that Saint-Saëns admired hugely. Saint-Saëns was organist at La Madeleine, which you see up here, which is an organ I've played, and indeed where the choir has sung, the choir of the cathedral has sung in La Madeleine. I think Saint-Saëns would reckon it was his best piece, and I think he said, I gave this piece as much as I got. This was my finest composition really. It fits into 4 movements, although officially it's only 2 movements, but we can separate it easily into 4, and the organ plays a significant part in the 2nd and the 4th movements. It's interesting that Saint-Saëns didn't actually call it the Organ Symphony himself. He called it a symphony with organ. Mm-hmm. So that's slightly different. And in the 2nd movement, he uses the organ as a sort of harmonic structure behind all the strings in unison, a very lush tune. In the 4th movement, it all begins dramatically with a huge C major chord. And then off we go with what I consider the big tune of the symphony. I say the big tune, he obviously liked it so much that he actually changes that tune various parts of the symphony. So for example, we hear the tune in a different key, we hear the tune in quavers, we hear the tune in a minor key rather than the major one. So he's altering this theme as he goes along. So from that point of view, it's very sort of cyclic.
What do you think the audience can expect from listening to this particular composition with a symphony orchestra in the cathedral?
I think they'll get a very lush sound, not only because of the magnificent way that the Hallé plays, but also that this building has a way of putting a glow on the sound. It enhances what's already there. And of course, the symphony orchestra with an organ that's built for the cathedral and appears at times to almost come out of the stonework as if it was built at the same time will be quite a thrilling experience, and I will give it on the night all it's got for the big tune at the end.
Is it a particularly complex piece of work to play?
Not to play, no, I can't pretend that there's anything that's technically difficult about it at all. I think it's just going to be liaising carefully with the orchestra and the conductor so that the balance is going to be right, the timing is going to be right, because in a building this size there is a time lag. Mm-hmm. But I think once we're on the train, we'll be okay.
Are there certain techniques that you need to perform a Saint-Saëns piece compared to other pieces you perform regularly?
I think there's a special technique in terms of doing this particular piece here. I think it's trial and error. Mm-hmm. To get the balance right. Yep. It'll be trial and error to get the timing right, because sound moves very slowly in a building this size. So of course I've got to be not with the beat, but actually on top of the beat. Yeah. Just slightly ahead ought to do it.
Are there any resemblances with other works? Whether it's Mozart, Beethoven, can you hear certain elements in this particular symphony?
I think there's no symphony like it, and it's a very fine one. Again, you can hear bits of Beethoven in terms of form and drama. You can hear bits of Mendelssohn, but Saint-Saëns is Saint-Saëns, and I love his music. He always writes interesting music.